Hi guys, is it May 5th, 3:30 p.m. Welcome to the AMA Coffee and Questions. Hi Annie, how are you doing? Let me just turn off some of these sliders. Who else do we have online today? Save that page for me.
You were reading it?
Yeah, oh, I picked something to talk about. But if you want to talk about something.
No. Doesn't always have to be me.
Okay. Is it just Annie today? Yeah, I'm doing pretty well. Good to see you.
Oh, hi, Miss Max.
Max here.
Hi, Annie.
Who else do we have online? Andre, hello, Mr. Dunn.
Hey, Andre.
How are you guys?
Dunn.
Okay, well, while we're waiting for more people to sign in, let's review today's schedule for classes. So at 5 o'clock, we've got the 10 to 13-year-old red to junior black belts. At 6 o'clock, we have the Tai Chi class. And again, everyone is welcome. So moms, dads, adult students, even the kids, if they want to try it out, you're more than welcome to. Very well, thank you. Then at 7 p.m. is the adult beginner class, so white to orange belts. And then...
Living the dream, Mr. Dunn. Hey, man, if you're between surviving and thriving, that's good.
Yeah, that means you're doing more than just surviving.
Exactly, so that's awesome. I know your job is tough, so yeah. That's a good mindset.
And then 8 p.m., of course, is our brown and black belt class.
Yeah, looking forward to that one.
Do you know what you're working with them today?
So today there will be an exercise component of about 15 to 20 minutes that is going to be some lower body. So Mr. Dunn, I know sometimes you like to know. If you've worked lower body today already, it's fine. You can work lower body on the same day as long as you recover. You wouldn't want to do lower body multiple days in a row. So if you've done it today, if you did it yesterday, go with the flow.
I think the real question is, do they need a chair and a belt?
No.
No? So you're all good.
No, what I was going to say is, so it's going to be a HIIT workout, high intensity workout. For the ladies, guys, you can just warrior through it, all of you. But for the ladies, basically it's going to be push. So guys, your mindset is push as hard as you can the whole time, if that's what you want to do. If you're going to want to follow along with what I'm doing with the ladies, is you're going to push as hard as you can and then rest so you push until you can't, and then you rest until you can. Okay, so that's the mindset that I want the women, depending on the age level, to do. And it's like I said, it's just a 15-minute workout at the beginning, and then we're going to do a burn and a blast for 5 minutes at the end. Okay, and it's to get into this push until you can't. That means all out until you can't. Like there's no holding back. It's not long moments. And then you rest until you can again. Okay, and that's the most important part. That works well with women's cycles of hormones and the kind of hormones, and it's metabolically boosting for us and actually healing for the adrenals and the cortisol. So when our bodies get stressed in conjunction with our hormones and estrogen, depending where we are, we get cortisol dumping, and that can cause all kinds of plateauing. Okay, so it's in an effort to heal. But guys, you're more than welcome to do it that way. It won't hurt you. But if you just want to push the whole time, it's not going to hurt you either. So that's going to happen. And then I've been working Tekyoko Kakuki with the kids and basics. I'm thinking that from a technical perspective, we're going to do the forehand sequence and maybe talk a little bit about, well, probably we'll just have time to do that, and stretching, and then our blast. I'll probably do the blast and then the stretching. So it'll be fun.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey, Pranav. Yeah, so for those you guys that work out regularly, she's talking about working to failure. So where the muscle just can't do another rep anymore. That's what your goal is.
Yeah, or mentally you can't anymore. So there's a physical and a psychological aspect. Yeah. So if mentally you can't or physically you can't, then you've done it. You've pushed till you can't. Yeah. Then you rest till you can. Yeah.
Usually find that your mind won't give up before your body. So usually you have a physical response first where you just can't do it.
That's interesting. That might be more male. I don't know. For me, it's more psychological.
Maybe.
My body can put out probably a lot more. It depends how much pain I'm feeling.
So what I wanted to talk about today, and I found a neat quote in the book that sort of goes with it, is the phrase "karate ni sante nashi." And for those of you trying to figure out how to spell that, I wrote it out.
Good afternoon, Miss Bauer.
Hi, Miss Bauer. So karate ni sante nashi, which sort of roughly translates as, in karate, there's no first attack, or no first move, depending on no first attack is, I think, the more accurate. And the quote that I took out of the book.
Mr. Dunn, sorry, I'm just going to respond to Mr. Dunn. Yeah, don't worry about repeating anything because it's more going to be more cardio. There will be a little bit of, there is some lower body stuff. So you can decide. So no problem.
Yeah, and you're doing full body this week anyway, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's just a short 15-minute blast. It's more for the high intensity. We're trying to go for high level heart rate. Okay. Thanks, Debbie.
All right. So karate ni sante nashi. In karate, there's no first move. So the quote I got was this.
Or first attack.
Yeah, first attack. Nothing is as difficult as engaging the force. The difficulties in engaging the force are those of making the indirect act directly, and adversity act an advantage.
Read that one more time.
So nothing is as difficult as engaging the force. The difficulties in engaging the force are those of making the indirect act directly, and adversity act as an advantage. So when I read that, I thought of karate ni sante nashi. Hopefully you did too. If you didn't, here's why. So when we think about the phrase karate ni sante nashi, there's sort of three different levels of training that or understanding that. The first one being as a defender, waiting for a physical attack to happen to you, and then reacting to that either by blocking or moving out of the way, and then counteracting. And then you have a second level, or the next level of training, is seeing the attack coming and counterattacking them immediately before they can hit you. And then the most difficult one, not just for to do, but also to defend from a legal standpoint is sort of the highest level is to see the intent or anticipate the attack and react and counterattack to that. So what most people do or consider self-defense is that level 1. More effective is level 2, and it's still pretty easy to defend because an attack did actually occur. The third one, while most effective, would probably, from a court perspective, be the most difficult to defend, or I guess defend isn't the right word, but to justify. It would be the most difficult to justify because no physical attack actually happened to you, but you knew they were going to attack you.
Intent and intuition.
And from a legal self-defense perspective, you have to ultimately prove that you believed there was a imminent threat to yourself.
What was the second one again?
So the second one, the middle one, is the attack happens, like you can see someone draw back to punch you,
and then you enter.
But before they can actually hit you, you punch them first.
Okay, got it. And the first one is they're hitting you.
The first one is they actually throw a punch and you either block or move out of the way and then hit them.
Yeah. And then the third one is, there's the intent.
Yeah, the highest level
is
you react based on intent or knowledge, right? So no actual physical attack has happened.
So that's an interesting translation or definition for karate ni. There is no first attack, meaning you're actually.
Well, because in all three cases, you're still. Yeah. Your first move is still a defensive move.
Yeah. That's cool.
So when you're thinking about karate na santinashi, like one of the basic ways that people think about it in karate do when they're doing kata is, or at least in goju, almost all of our katas start with a block because we don't attack first, right? And that's this sort of noble idea or ideal, right? But that we don't want to confuse that with letting someone get in the first punch on us in order to defend that.
Or to never defend yourself and react and just let them beat you up, which happens a lot in school.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gono-sen and Seno-sen. Yes, those are the general idea. Yeah. So that was what I was thinking about. So when you're practicing kata, right? When we're talking about intent, right? So when karate masters are talking about a student coming out of the dance, they're talking about someone showing the proper intent of the training in their kata, right? It's no longer just a series of movements, but now they're demonstrating the fight. And part of that is understanding those three levels, right? So when you're visualizing an opponent in your kata, we can practice those three different levels of karate ni sante nashi.
And hopefully you have the ability to visualize in your mind in order to do that. I don't. I have a condition. There's a name for it. I forgot the name. Aphantasia, I think. Means you cannot visualize with your mind's eye. So no pictures are created. So I've had to overcome that with my training and still be able to visualize. So if you have difficulty with that, ask me and I'll share with you how I do it.
Yeah, and there's tricks and workarounds ultimately it's an emotional thing, right? And just even if you can't see something visually, as long as the understanding in what you're doing is there, you can still behave and train in the proper way.
Yeah. You just have to find your understanding of it. And if
Right.
your instructor keeps telling you to visualize and you can't, you need to let them know. And even then, they may not be able to help you. So just come to me because I'm one of the few that it's not that it's a rare thing, but I haven't met anyone else in AMA that has it. So not yet anyway.
And if you don't have an actual issue, right, it can be something that just needs practice, right? So for those of you who aren't coming to Tai Chi and you're not doing the visualization drills and stuff like that, then that's something that you need to start doing.
Yeah.
Right.
It will help your kata training.
It's an important part. Everyone that I have ever known that does both karate and Tai Chi have all said that Tai Chi has improved their karate. Yeah. For me, a big part of it was the visualization drills, and of course, with Goju specifically, it helps with the Ju aspect of your karate, since karate tends to be all go, and at least guys, and I'm generalizing, but most guys have a lot of go in them, right? We tend to be very tense. So learning the Ju aspect from Tai Chi definitely helps when you can figure out how to incorporate that into your karate.
It's a journey.
It is. So that was my my thought of the day. And do you guys have any questions? If you guys don't have questions, then we have to go back to talking about the weather.
Well, it's sunny out.
There we go. So Annie's asking, she says, because she's still new to this, meaning karate, would focus and
straight be similar to this karate meaning?
Focus and straight.
To the karate ni santi nashi?
Yeah, I think that's what she means. I'm not sure what she means by straight. That might be a typo. But focus, maybe she means sight. I don't know. I would say yes on a surface level, which is fine, right? As a beginner, what you'd want to work on, you're still working on level 1, right? Strength.
Focus and
okay,
strength.
Focus and strength. So that's a more physical focus and strength. That's more of a physical aspect on, so you're developing your own strength. And focus, meaning, I'm assuming you mean like sort of concentrating on what you're doing. And yes, that's definitely something you want to work on. But karate ni santi nashi was sort of extrapolated on the translation. So that first level of seeing an attack coming in and reacting to it by defending and then counterattacking is where you are right now, or what we're trying to develop in you. Because ultimately, the most important thing that we want to do or learn how to do by practicing karate is to make sure that we don't get injured, right? So if you can learn how to block an attack, right, or evade an attack without getting injured, then that's the number one goal. The counterattack being a way of ending the conflict, right? Whether you take that literally or metaphorically, it doesn't matter, right? If it's a an attack on your mental wellness, or a slanderous attack or bullying or anything like that, sort of workplace tension and politics, we want to, in the same way, be able to recognize when someone is trying to harm us, to defend ourselves adequately from that harm, and then to stop that somehow, right? So on a more mental aspect, obviously we're not gonna, if someone's bullying us at work, just turn around and punch the guy in the face, because there's consequences for that. But there has to be appropriate steps and actions that a person can take to end that conflict in a legal and workplace appropriate way. When we're in the dojo, the easier thing to practice is the literal act of seeing a physical attack, someone trying to hit us, and defending against that strike or kick, and then counterattacking in a physical way to end the physical conflict, right? The ultimate goal in that case of being to change the attacker's mind from a mindset of they're going to win to a mindset of they're not going to win, right? Because once an attacker knows they're not going to win, that's when the fight is over. And that's a very beginner idea, right? And when I say beginner, I don't mean just white belts, but that's the first stage in those 3 stages that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So if you're talking like beginner, intermediate, advanced, don't worry about like belt levels.
Yeah. The 3rd level is very advanced. So we're talking about beyond black belts, beyond Shodan.
Yeah. Yeah, and it requires a lot of intuition and experience, because especially when we start talking about legalities and stuff like that, that's sort of like at an expert level.
Yeah.
Even from, you might not recognize in yourself why you did it. And then, so what the courts would consider an expert witness who has experience in that field would testify on your behalf, because they do understand why you did what you did.
Right. And that's somebody that has a minimum of 25 years training. So you're not an expert until you have a minimum of 25 years training in your field.
Yeah, in any given field.
Yeah.
In order to qualify as an expert witness.
Yeah. So we are almost there. Oh no, you're closer. Are you 25 years yet?
Maybe 20. I think I got 2 more years.
2 more years to go.
Yeah.
So yeah. So we're there. We're almost there.
Oh, you're very welcome, Annie. It was a good question. Right. And never be afraid to ask questions. That's why we are here. Anyone else?
And developing your intuition is really something that is not a physical thing. It requires going inward. And that's sort of what I've been branching into, experiencing and trying to teach you guys through the Qigong and the breathing and the meditations.
Yeah. And even from when we're talking about what, sort of intuition is, it also requires a lot on wisdom, right? Because you can't make even those split-second decisions that your body is reacting. That's all based on prior experience, right? Whether that is an experience that you happened to you or that you witnessed, that your body is now sort of embodied as truth.
Especially a physical reaction.
Yeah. Or even, when we're talking about workplace, that scenario, unless you've been through it in some way, whether you figured it out yourself or you had the help of, someone in HR that's taking you through it or whatever, right? That's all experience that you build up. And and becomes your wisdom, right? So that your intuition can make proper choices.
Yeah, and sometimes your intuition is based on feeling. Like if you're sensing danger,
Yeah.
and then you're like, I should avoid this. I don't know why. That's also a definition of intuition.
From everything that I read about humans and our sort of the animal instincts, right? We tend to err on the side of something being dangerous. Our natural reaction is to assume danger and to react in a defensive way.
For survival.
For survival, right? That whole animal instinct from caveman days.
That's why we tend towards negative thinking as well.
Yeah. So probably the more difficult instinct to develop is on the positive side, and that's where wisdom can really be beneficial, is in when we talk about, training goals as a karate artist, being goal setters and achievers. And by doing that practice and overcoming obstacles, we train ourselves to know when we can be successful, right? So that our intuition doesn't immediately go to, oh, run away, right? We need to, that quote, when it talks about, entering instead of retreating, there, from a karate perspective, I can step away from my attacker and block, but I could also step into my attacker and block.
Which is the strongest.
Yeah, which is
the most powerful moment.
Creating a larger impact, but it's the scarier option, right? It's not the option that people tend to do naturally, but it is more effective. So when you can, right? But that only happens through practice, right? And learning that it's something you can do. Any other questions? About 3 minutes left. We'll do one more question. It's a good thing these are recorded. I might never remember I said that again.
Exactly. Sometimes these things are just born in the moment. They're the best, but we never remember them.
I was always a terrible note taker. I still don't take notes. So
I'm the note taker.
Sensei Julie takes awesome notes, so she has to come to all the meetings because I never take notes.
See what I deal with.
I just try and remember what I can, and I figure if I remember it, then I was supposed to, and if I don't, it'll come back later.
Yeah, don't follow that. Take notes. Learn how to.
You should take notes. I wish I could take notes.
It's just a skill to develop. Yeah. I had to develop the skill of taking notes because he didn't. So he just hasn't developed it because I step in and I do it.
You're welcome.
We work well together.
I know Renchi and Shihan and those guys, they always talk about how they have like volumes of notes that they've taken over the years from their training over the last 30 years.
Nope.
And I've got like maybe 2 notebooks. And
I've got lots of notebooks.
Sometimes none of them are full. And some of them have different years in them because I've taken one note at something. I thought, oh, that's really cool. I'll write that down. And it's gone on the shelf, or I've lost the book. And then I find that book and I take it to another seminar.
But it's like
3 years later. 3 years later, and they take a note for something else.
Yeah. It's organized chaos.
Yeah. Like if you went back to read my notes, it would look like I was schizophrenic.
But at least you can read his handwriting. Shihan, you cannot read his handwriting.
Yeah.
And I used to read doctors' handwriting when I was a nurse, and it was the worst. But we got to decipher the writing of each individual doctor that we work with. And it's true, chicken scratch doesn't even explain some of them. Shihans, I couldn't, and you develop the skill to be able to do it. I couldn't read Shihan's handwriting at all, ever. So he's really good at whatever, however he writes, it's
like code.
Indecipherable.
I do remember him telling us sometimes that he can't read his own sometimes.
Yeah.
Where he goes back to his notes and he's like, I don't know what that says.
Yep. But he used to be very good at, like, he would be very meticulous, he said. Recently, he found an old book. And I saw his writing. I was like, wow, that's different. We should go back.
Mine's sort of done the same. When I was in grade school.
Mine's a lot messier, too.
Grade 1 and grade 2, I had to learn how to write in cursive with a fountain pen in Germany.
Yeah, I'm sure you loved that.
So it was like doing calligraphy.
Yeah.
And they actually hit you if you didn't get to the lines. So,
the good old days.
I had really, really good handwriting by grade 3. And because if you did it wrong, it would smudge the page. And you had to start over. So now it's not quite as good, but it's still legible.
Yeah.
Ballpoint pens made it easier to go quick. Still no questions. Okay. Well, it is 4 o'clock, and that's why you teach us. Exactly. That's what I always say.
It's exactly why we have students.
Yeah.
You guys can teach you
all the knowledge,
so that we don't have to remember it.
So that we have more room in our head for other stuff.
Yeah, Shihan said that at some
seminar
recently, and it was brilliant.
I thought that was a great idea. So we are implementing his plan.
Yeah.
Can't blame me.
So Mr. Dunn, Miss Mac, Miss Bauer,
all our black belts.
Yeah. You guys are our notes.
you have to remember all the stuff we've taught you, otherwise it's gone. No pressure. And you're not allowed to forget it until you have your own students that you can teach the stuff to.
You pass it on to.
You can pass it on, but you can't forget it.
And you all have, some of you have students that you teach, some of you don't. So
it
will come in time.
They have to get their own students. Then they can forget.
I wouldn't recommend doing that.
Well, that's a whole nother story.
Just training.
Yeah.
If you enjoy the training, just stick with the training.
Yeah. If you want to decide to run your own school, come talk to me. I'll talk you out of it.
Not because we don't love it, but it's a whole other animal. Yeah. And it impacts your ability to train. You have to be the right person. Yeah.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do it. You just wouldn't stick with it.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are going to head out. Or I'm heading out to teach class.
I will be heading out later.
Yes. And we'll see you
later. Here she comes. Wait.
Oh,
let the cat say hello. Hello.
There she is.
Cleo says hi. All right, guys. So I'll see some of you this evening at 8 p.m.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.